Rome didn't conquer the world with numbers. It conquered it with discipline. This was the most feared army in history. They did not fight like warriors. They fought like a machine, thousands of men, moving as one, shields locking, feet striking the ground in rhythm. No fear, no hesitation, no chaos. And when the Roman army advanced, the world stepped aside. Imagine the sound first. Boots hitting the dirt, again and again. Metal clinking, leather tightening. Orders shouted in Latin, a column of soldiers stretching beyond sight. This was not just an army. This was Rome, on the move. At its peak, the Roman army was the most powerful force on earth. Not because of size, but because of discipline. Every soldier was trained, controlled, conditioned. They did not rely on rage. They relied on order. Picture a young recruit, fresh, unproven, standing in a dusty field. He is handed a wooden sword, heavier than a real one, a shield, also heavier. Why? Because Rome did not train men for comfort. It trained them for endurance. He strikes a wooden post, thrust, step, shield up, thrust again. Not wild swings, always controlled, always precise. Hours pass, then more. Still, he continues. Sweat runs down his face, arms shaking, legs burning. But he doesn't stop, because Roman training was relentless. They marched for miles, fully equipped, armor, shield, weapons, pack. Over 30 kilograms, across rough terrain, under the burning sun. No complaints, no slowing down, because weakness had no place in the ranks. Now shift the scene. A group of soldiers builds a camp, fast, efficient, automatic. Every night, wherever they stopped, they built a fortified camp. Ditches dug, walls raised, tents aligned in perfect rows, even in enemy territory, even after long marches, because discipline never stopped. Inside the camp, life was strict. Train, maintain, drill, repeat. Weapons cleaned until they shined. Armor repaired without delay. Formations practiced again and again. Mistakes were not tolerated. If one man broke formation, he put everyone at risk. Punishments were harsh, sometimes brutal, but they created something rare: trust. Every soldier knew the man next to him would not break, because he couldn't. Now imagine the battlefield, dust rising, enemy forces gathering, shouting, charging wildly, loud, aggressive, unpredictable. And then, the Romans, silent, calm, waiting. A command is given, shields rise, the front line locks together, a wall forms, behind them, more lines. Layer after layer, the enemy charges, screaming, running at full speed. The Romans do not move, they wait. At the last moment, pylons fly, heavy javelins cutting through the air. They strike shields, armor, flesh, and then something clever. The pilum bends on impact. It cannot be thrown back. Enemy shields become useless. Now the distance closes. The clash begins. But this is not chaos. This is controlled violence. Roman soldiers do not swing wildly. They step forward, shield up, sword ready, a quick thrust, then back into formation. Again, step, thrust, reset, small movements, efficient, deadly. The line advances slowly, pushing, breaking the enemy. Because while others fought as individuals, Rome fought as one. Now shift again. Rain pours down, mud covers the ground. The Roman army keeps moving, through forests, over mountains, across rivers. They build bridges in days, roads in weeks, entire regions connected. This was not just an army that fought, it built. Wherever it went, it left structure behind. Fortresses, cities, infrastructure, war and engineering, combined. This is why Rome could expand, not just conquer, but hold. Now imagine facing them for the first time. You see the formations, the discipline, the silence before the attack, and you feel it. This is different, because the Roman army did not rely on bravery. It relied on systems, clear ranks, clear commands, clear roles, centurions shouting orders, standards rising above the chaos. Even in battle, there was order, and order wins wars. Rome adapted. When enemies changed, Rome changed. New tactics, new strategies. Nothing was fixed. Everything improved. If something worked, they kept it. If it failed, they replaced it. No ego, only results. That is what made them unstoppable. Not just strength, but evolution. Now imagine the aftermath. The battlefield is quiet, weapons scattered, but the Roman army still stands. Formations intact, because they did not break. They endured. Victory was not always fast, but it was consistent, and consistency builds empires. For centuries, the Roman army dominated. It pushed borders outward, defended what it gained. It became the backbone of Rome. Without it, there is no empire. And when that discipline faded, when the system broke, Rome followed. Because Rome was not built by emperors. It was built by soldiers, men who trained harder, marched farther, fought smarter, together. The Roman army was more than a force of war. It was a system, a machine of order in a chaotic world. And even today, modern armies still follow its principles. Discipline, structure, command, echoes of Rome. Because what they created was timeless. If you enjoy stories about the rise and fall of civilizations, epic clashes and more, subscribe to Empire Chronicles for the next chapters of history.